now ba 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 da dee ba 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 da dee ba 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 da. Do now think positive podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Do Now.
Think Positive Podcast.
My name is FendiPendi, your creative content creator.
And my name is Philip Tan. I'm the CEO for Snapp Packaging. And today we have a special guest, Dr. Lennie Soo. And the topic for today will be perimenopause. So, Dr. Lennie, would you like to introduce yourself?
So I'm Dr. Lennie Soo. I'm a neuro counseling psychologist and an integrated therapist. So perimenopause is very close to my heart because a lot of women, a lot of my patients that come in, they often come in with depression and anxiety, but later on we discover that it is perimenopause.
Yeah. Dr. Lennie, this perimenopause topic is very, very interesting. Can you enlighten us and also the viewers what scientific evidence proves that perimenopause symptoms can be actually managed or completely reversed successfully?
Okay. I think first, Philip, we must be scientifically honest. Perimenopause is actually a natural biological transition. So we cannot or we do not need to reverse it. What research does show is that many symptoms can be significantly reduced or sometimes even relieved. Menopause hormone therapy, for example, remains the most effective evidence-based treatment for hot flushes, night sweats, and when it is medically appropriate because not everybody also can take hormone therapy. Randomized trials also support non-hormonal medication and menopause-specific cognitive behavioral therapy for improving sleep, emotional distress, and impacts of symptoms. An integrative approach looks beyond hormones alone. We assess sleep, stress, we assess nutrition, mental health, relationships, and underlying medical conditions. Then we personalize the care. The goal is not to promise a cure as such, but it is to help every woman regain stability, regain their functioning, and maintain their sense of self. Because perimenopause may not be reversible, but suffering in silence is not inevitable.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Dr. Lennie, so how does perimenopause actually feel emotionally and physically for women?
Okay, perimenopause, how does it feel emotionally and physically for women? It's for many women, it feels as though their body has suddenly changed the rules without warning. I call this the silent shift. So this has been my topic of interest, the silent shift, and how, even for men, and I'm so glad that, you two men are interested to know more about perimenopause. Even for men, right? Because it shifts so silently. And a lot of times it catch a lot of women, like by surprise almost. Physically, they may experience like irregular period, hot flushes, night sweats, disrupted sleep, fatigue, headaches, joint discomfort, palpitation, or changes in their sexual well-being. But emotionally, some women describe what they feel as increased anxiety, irritability, low mood, poor concentration, or a frightening sense that they are no longer themselves. But every woman's experience is really different. And we should not automatically blame every symptom on hormones.
Right.
Like every time people say, it's because of your hormones. We shouldn't blame everything on hormones. It could be a thyroid problem, it could be anemia, it could be depression, and it can be other medical condition that may look similar. And because we always attribute it to hormones, we may miss the chance or the window to address that medical condition. What women need most is to be believed, to be properly assessed and reminded. You are not losing yourself. Your body is going through a transition, and appropriate support, like from men, can help you feel steady again. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So having said that, what would be the most important inner mindset that women need to stay positive through this perimenopause?
Well, the most important mindset shift is we need to shift from what is wrong with me, to what is my body asking me to pay attention to.
Right.
Because that's really what it is all about, right? We cannot stop perimenopause from happening. We cannot stop aging. But, the questions that we have been asking, like what is wrong with me, is actually the wrong question. We have to ask the right question. What is the load that my nervous system is now handling? Why am I feeling overwhelmed? What is my body asking me to pay attention to? What is my nervous system asking me to pay attention to? Staying positive doesn't mean that we deny the difficulties. It means replacing self-criticism with self-compassion and seeking support without shame. You'd be surprised, yeah? A lot of women actually, they feel ashamed, just like with men, they go through andropause.
Yeah.
They feel ashamed to actually seek help. So perimenopause is not the end of who you are. It is kind of like a transition. And with the right understanding and care, you can feel like yourself again.
Okay, so how do women stay positive throughout this journey, and what is the positive mindset?
Okay, how do women stay positive throughout this journey? I think if they don't have support, it is really hard for them to stay positive. We need support to be able to stay positive in things. And I think having support, having a social system, I think these will help them to stay positive.
Okay. Then what would be the specific role of quality sleep and targeted supplements in managing perimenopause symptoms effectively?
That is such a great question. Because quality sleep is foundational, right? Because if you disrupt your sleep, right? And sleep disruption can increase the intensity of, for example, fatigue, irritability, anxiety, poor concentration, and sensitivity to pain. So if you die also want to stay awake when you're going through this kind of transition phase, then you mati also, you get into trouble, right? Because then you become irritable and all that the next day. Now, sleep does not reverse hormonal change, but improving sleep, sometimes through menopause specific, in terms of psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, can significantly improve how a woman feels and how they function. Now, you talk about supplement. With supplements, we must avoid compromising. Most commercial menopause supplements, right, have limited or inconsistent evidence for relieving hot flushes. Supplements are most useful when they address an identified needs. For example, if you don't have enough iron, then take iron. All right. Iron deficiency from heavy bleeding, for example, is very common. So then take some iron supplements. Take MCT, like this, or if you have an inadequate vitamin D, or if your bones feels a bit more brittle or whatever, take calcium, take vitamin D. These are more what we call targeted supplement. So my principle is very simple: assess first, then supplement second. So the aim is not to sell everybody a miracle cure, but to give the body what the body genuinely needs.
Okay, so Dr. Lennie, for women out there who is entering their perimenopause journey today, what is your honest advice to all of them?
For all those women out there who are entering your perimenopause journey, do not suffer in silence. Do not assume that every change is just part of aging. Listen to your body, document your symptoms, and seek a proper assessment. Because not every system is caused by perimenopause. And treatment should never be one size fit all, right? Do not wait until you're completely falling apart, your marriage is falling apart, your children all hate you before asking for help. You deserve support, right? While you are changing, not only after you have reached your breaking point. I think that is a very important point that we need to make.
Dr. Lennie, someone right there is listening in the thick of perimenopause. They are exhausted, they are moody, and wondering if this is going to be forever. what is the one thing that you're going to advise them this week to start feeling better? Like, do now, think positive.
Okay, so when they want to do this, and they are trying to, I guess you're asking them for tools, right? So this week, maybe one thing that they really can do, if they are really having symptoms of perimenopause like hot flashes and night sweats. Night sweats is very bad because it disrupts sleep. If they're having that, then I think a proper health assessment this week will be very good. But you must choose a menopause informed professional. Not every doctor is menopause informed, right? And you do not have to diagnose or fix yourself alone, right? Bring your symptoms, ask questions, and then after that we can begin like a perimenopause plan. Hold on to this truth. How you feel today is not necessarily how you're going to feel forever,
Okay.
right? Perimenopause is a transition and not a permanent identity.
All right. So, Dr. Lennie, thank you for today's session. We're coming to the end of the session. So, we would like you to please continue to encourage our viewer, right, to stay engaged, to address the perimenopause early rather than suffer through the journey. So, all yours, Dr. Lennie.
I've been given 3 minutes to wrap it all up for those women who are suffering from perimenopause. Now, as an integrative therapist, I do not see emotions, like the emotions that you're going through, the up and down, the mood swings, I don't see this as a weakness, but I see this as something that exists it's not something that exists only in your mind, right? This is something real. I mean, we all go through perimenopause. It's something very real. Don't just think that, oh, this is nothing to do with me. This has got, this is just my hormones. Don't allow those mood swings, those irritability to define you as a woman, right? You are more than your feelings. You are more than the emotions that you're expressing. Think of this perimenopause period as a journey where you are coming home to yourself, a journey where you are moving back to being who you are. Because think about this, all your life, right? From the time that you were born to where you are currently, all this time you have been living for someone else. You've been living for your family, you've been living for first you live for your parents, then you live for your husband, then you live for your kids. But perimenopause is a time where finally, you're living for yourself. And instead of asking, what is wrong with me? What you should be asking is, what has happened to me? What is overloading my nervous system? How do I reduce this load to my nervous system? And so only by understanding ourselves and understanding what is happening to ourselves can we really, really take action to improve ourselves, so that once we finish this transition and we move into menopause, we will emerge like a butterfly as someone who is so much wiser, nicer, kinder, more compassionate in so many different ways. Thank you.